More on Patrick Mahomes, though. And this is the time of the year where football players and fans allow themselves to become so confident that they cross over into delusion. Here's Patrick Mahomes talking about his aspirations now that we have a 17-game season, and now that he's racking up all sorts of individual numbers, he's got a team number in mind. Here he is.
The only record I have my eyes set on breaking, which it'd be new this year, going 20-0.
Okay.
That's not really a record to be broken, I guess you'd say, but I think 19-0 is the record right now. So being able to go 20-0, be the first one to do that, that'd be awesome.
I think that umbrella that they have in the shot is awesome, but it's not functional. It's not casting any shade on Patrick Mahomes.
No, it's doing nothing.
It's just there for looks, I guess.
Right.
But regardless, 20-0. Yeah, nobody ever did 19-0. The Patriots got as close as anyone. That's a long road to go 17-0. Or now you got to go 17-0. Now you got to match what the Dolphins did just in the regular season.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you got to go win 3 playoff games. Good luck with all that.
Yeah, well, it's going to be on, guys like Patrick Mahomes and Brady and other quarterbacks that are great or of that status. Yeah, it's going to be on their radar. I mean, yeah, it's a nice thing to shoot for. Is it like something you're like really realistic about? Did he write it like, on his bathroom mirror to be like, we're going 20? No, not at all. But it's just a cool thing to talk about either way. And the Chiefs and Mahomes aren't afraid to speak about those things. They're not. And at least, give it a shot. That's for sure.
The broader point is he doesn't care about his own numbers.
Yes, right.
That's fine. But
right.
All that matters is winning a championship. Let's not get caught up in going undefeated. Just get to Super Bowl number 2. Mm-hmm. That's more important because 2 leads to 3. You go 20-0, you still only get 1 ring. They don't give you a second ring for going 20-0. And this reminds me of what Tom Brady said during the draft.
Yeah.
The draft-a-thon, where he made the comment that he would trade a couple of Super Bowl rings for a perfect season. That's got to be one of the things that he's still got on his docket of possibilities. They came so close to it now 14 years ago. Here's the first Super Bowl team to return all the starters on both sides of the ball since the Steelers of the 70s, man.
Yeah.
And Brady's got to be thinking about that. He's got to be. That's the way you stay focused and motivated week in and week out. You avoid having a stumble every week. And look how good the Chiefs were last year. They had 1 stumble against the Raiders.
Yeah.
And then they had the game late in the year that they rested the starters for. They have been, other than that Buccaneers game, we have a bad memory of the Chiefs from that. The Chiefs have been freaking awesome.
The
past couple of years.
No doubt about it. Answer the bell almost every week. I mean, really, they're unbelievable. You're right. There's nothing to say negative about the Chiefs. I mean, it's been one of the best teams in football. They always compete, and of course, even when they're having a down day, 15 gives them a chance to still win a game or stay close or whatever it may be. Yeah, they're special. I don't know. Can they make that kind of run this year for a 4th year in a row? That's where I've gotten to you, and we've had this conversation to where I think this is a year they lose a few more games than we've seen them lose the past 2 years. Still in the playoffs, but, that it catches up to them, all the long games and the long years and just being beat up and constantly having the bullseye on your back and all of that. But I will say this, Mike, just going back to the 20-0 thing, to me that's something that, I think a lot of players and quarterbacks, it has real, I don't know what I want to say. It's just it'd be a great honor to be able to go, wait, we were 20-0, we were undefeated, we won the Super Bowl. As a quarterback or as a player, when you have that, you can always be like, we're the best team ever, or I was the quarterback of the best team ever. And I think that's why you hear sometimes quarterbacks wax poetically about it or think about it.
And whether it's the Buccaneers or the Chiefs, when you have that standard of excellence and high achievement in the regular season, if you are focused on going 20-0, it will carry you through those moments where you would otherwise step in a pothole and pick up a loss.
Yeah,
the problem
sure.
is once you get your first loss, using that as the motivation in the games that aren't all that significant, that goes out the window. But, hey, these guys are perfectionists. These guys are crazy in a good way. They want to win. They want to win every week. And Chiefs fans should be paying close attention to all these situations involving quarterbacks and front offices or coaching staffs and dysfunction, and they should be very glad. When Peter was on the show Friday. We had a draft of the next wave of quarterbacks who may make power plays. Mahomes is nowhere even close to the board.
No.
Amazing. Mahomes just isn't wired that way.
No.
They never have to worry about it. Watch as I say this. It's going to be 3 years away. He's jostling for a new team. But he won't. They have ultimate incredible quarterback plus ultimate incredible teammate, player, part of the organization who wants to be there and isn't going to make a power play, isn't going to try to get out of town. And Chiefs fans have to feel good about that because now every team that has a great quarterback has to worry, when does this go haywire and we go through this extended stretch of the quarterback trying to get out of town?
Yeah, no, it's amazing. He's going to scare people that way because he is talented. You're right, and he's shown that he's not selfish. So he's willing to take a little less and go, okay, I'll only have $200 million in the bank when my career ends instead of $220. And that's okay. I mean, we've had that conversation. I would be one of those guys. That's a lot of money, I know, but when you have that much money already, it's not as much. So, and hey, the other thing too, Mike, I've thought about this a few times recently. Like, we've talked about the Bucs, all 22 starters back and everything like that. I think one of the coolest things of this offseason is this team we're talking about that's kind of dominated the NFL for 3 years in a row got, significantly better, too, this offseason. Let's not forget what they did on the offensive line with Tooney and Orlando Brown Jr. and Kyle Long. And then to also, let's not forget, get Jerron Reed at defensive tackle from the Seattle Seahawks. He's a Pro Bowl defensive tackle. They got a guy like DeAndre Baker, who's a first-round pick and had his off-field issues, who might resurface or show up here. Trade for Mike Hughes from your Minnesota Vikings. They're a team that is always aggressive and doesn't stand put, and that's where I respect them too, to where they had a sneaky, really awesome offseason themselves.
Well, and they needed to make some changes. They
did.
saw what happened in Super Bowl 55, and they decided we've got to do some work or we're going to lose our grip on the division, on the conference. They've got 2 straight Super Bowl appearances. Could have been 3, was close to 3. It was a coin toss away from them having a shot at 3. So, hey, look, the Chiefs are here to stay. They're going to be in the conversation every year. And as to keeping Mahomes happy, the challenge is going to be to monitor the market at quarterback, monitor the salary cap, and be willing at the right time to go in and adjust his contract to make it more fair to him so you avoid a situation where he feels like he's not being treated fairly. I think that's going to be the test for Brett Veach, Andy Reid, and Clark Hunt in a couple of years. Will they affirmatively approach Patrick Mahomes and say, we're going to take care of you because we see what's going on elsewhere? We see by virtue of other contracts that we could say, oh, those are stupid. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. Oh, they're paying too much. At a certain point, the contracts add up to the point where it's unavoidable. You either care about the person you have or you don't.
They will.
And the one way you show you care about them is you start paying them like the others are getting paid.
I think they will. Listen, I just, as far as people go, I don't know, Veach, Reed, it seems as good as it gets that way. It really does. And I don't think they're the type of people that are going to look there and go, we're screwing him over. He's making $20 less million than everybody else in football. He's the best player. I don't. They'll find a way, whether it's through more bonuses, extending, whatever. I really do. I think they got something special there with just the people. And that's why I don't think they're not, like you said, they're not going anywhere because I don't think they don't put pressure on them. They have fun there. They're just, it seems like a different atmosphere than a normal team that's 3 years in a row, Super Bowl, AFC Championship, all those type of things. That's why last year I thought they would go back to the Super Bowl. I think they enjoy being the biggest show in the NFL, and they like the bright lights and just playing and let's let it fly. And that's why the pressure doesn't get to them, and they're not going anywhere, Mike. I agree with you.
I recently poked around to see what, if any, adjustments the Chiefs were making to their offseason program in response to this trend that we're seeing where coaches are doing less time, less intensity. And the Chiefs don't have a very intense offseason program anyway. It's to your point. They're not as hard driving and hard charging and over the top and focused during the offseason as maybe some of these other teams are. And it's worked so far for the Chiefs. Whatever they're doing, keep doing it because they have gone from, a team that was just kind of perpetually stuck in mud. They'd get close. They'd lose playoff games at home. They'd lost so many playoff games at home in a row before they finally, turned it around. And with Patrick Mahomes, just whatever you do, keep him happy. Do what it takes to keep him happy. Give him personnel input, give him money, do whatever. You keep that guy happy, because as we see more and more quarterbacks exercise their power, you just don't want Patrick Mahomes to ever be a guy who chooses to do that. And if they play it right, he won't be.
No, they won't. I mean, he's not that kind of guy, and hopefully they're smart enough to realize to not play that game with Patrick Mahomes. They are fun to watch, and I think it is because of the people running that organization. You're right. They kind of were, like your Vikings, relevant every year. But then they got this guy at quarterback, and they went to a whole nother level of relevant for the Super Bowl conversation, not relevant for just making the playoffs or being that. And that's where they have a real advantage over your team.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.